All right, so I know I'm a little bit late to covering this, but Larry Elder hopped on the Breakfast Club show with Charlemagne the other day, and he really brought it. And I wanted to highlight this just because it's so amazing. I might even do a couple highlights just because they talk about so much. Black America, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, and Larry Elder is prepared for every single thing that they throw at him. It's pretty much 3 versus 1, and he does an amazing, amazing, amazing job. Before we jump into this video, you guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you all for being here. Really appreciate it. Make sure to hit that like button and share the video just so the algorithm knows that people like this video. I want more people to see this interview of Larry Elder just because it's so fantastic. As always, I'll put a link down to the full video in the description below. And then also lastly, before we get started, this video is sponsored by my good friends over at Undertac. Huge shout out to them. We'll talk about them a little bit more in a bit. So, for all of you guys, which I'm pretty sure it's every single person that's familiar with Larry Elder, and I mean, if you get him talking about Black America, like, he's gonna dominate the conversation. But he's quick on his feet. I've even done a one-on-one interview with him when he was on the campaign trail, becoming governor or trying to become governor of California during the gubernatorial election, trying to get rid of Gavin Newsom. I did a one-on-one with him, and even then, he was just so quick, could answer anything you throw at him. And I don't know. I mean, maybe Charlemagne thought that they were gonna corner him into a ideological kind of inconsistent point or something. He does pretty darn good. Let's go ahead and jump into this bit right here. We're going to start with talking about election denying.
Anytime you allow bad behavior to continue, you're going to get more bad behavior, whether that's...
So how does that apply to President Trump then? Because you said that was a two-tier system that
because
that's unfair.
I don't believe Donald Trump...
You don't think he did anything?
I don't think he did anything wrong. No, I don't. I believe that he complained about the election the same way Hillary did. Hillary, for 4 years, referred to the 2016 election as having been stolen, her word, not mine. She called Donald Trump illegitimate, her word, not mine.
Also, really quick, a lot of people, whenever you bring that up, they will, just because we've talked to people on the street about this stuff, they'll go right away and say, no, she eventually conceded. If they happen to be a little bit more knowledgeable on the topic, she eventually conceded. Technically, that's true, but a lot of these points end up being half-truths, right? Because technically, that's true, and then months later, she went back, and since then is denying that Donald Trump won that election. So, I mean, just using a basic timeline, that means that she didn't concede because she went back on what she went back on conceding.
Jay Johnson, who's Obama's DHS secretary, testified under oath that not a single vote tally was changed by the Russians. They tried, but they failed to change a single vote tally. 66% of Democrats believe the Russians changed vote tallies to get Donald Trump elected, even though Jay Johnson testified under oath, not a single one was changed. That's the damage that people like Hillary and former President Jimmy Carter and Stacey Abrams and Hakeem Jeffries and others have said for years, referring to Donald Trump as illegitimate. A greater percentage of Democrats believe 2016 was stolen than we feel that way about 2020, but yet nobody calls them election deniers and nobody accuses them of undermining our republic. And they're not undermining our republic. They're complaining about an election. You have a right to do so.
Bam. Mic drop, and he's just talking about 2016 right there. He's not even talking about 2018 or the all the other elections. I mean, Karine Jean-Pierre, the White House press secretary, was denying both 2016 and 2018 election. So it's constant. The fact that the conservatives don't really dominate so much of the media, one, they didn't really craft that narrative so much. They didn't go super hard into it. But also, if you don't control the media, you can't really control that narrative as much. So a lot of people knew that they were denying that election, but there was never that election denier kind of stigma, right? Democrats denied the 2016 election, spent tens of millions of dollars investigating that, and they still were, there was never this election denying stigma. They controlled the narrative, and it was always Russia, Russia, Russia. Nobody was ever criticizing them for just making something up, saying that it was stolen by the Russians. Really quick, I wanted to pull this up right here. All right, guys, let's take a few moments to talk about today's sponsor. There's a lot of talk right now about the sound of freedom and the horrors of human trafficking. What if I told you that you could help in the fight before even putting on your pants in the morning? The company that is sponsoring today's video, Undertac, donates a portion of the profits to multiple organizations fighting human trafficking. Undertac isn't your typical men's boxers. They're made with modal. Think of like cotton, just way better. They're 50% more moisture wicking, antibacterial, and way softer. Undertac stays in place with a sturdy yet comfortable extra wide waistband, and the fly design is brilliantly straightforward. They're durable, ultralight, fade resistant, and shrink resistant. Here's the best part. They're almost 30% less than the competition. And again, they donate a portion of their profits to multiple organizations fighting human trafficking. You guys have been wearing them for a little bit over a year now, and I absolutely love them. Go pick up a drawer full today, undertac.com. That's undertac.com. And you can get 20% off site-wide by using my offer code Klug20. Undertac comes with a satisfaction guarantee, and you're helping to make the world a better place. That's undertac.com, spelled undertac.com, undertac.com, offer code Klug20. Take advantage of this, you guys. Let's jump back into the video. When you talk to people about this stuff, right, because you just want to be like, let's just be fair. We can say somebody's denying elections over here on the right side, and people are denying elections over here on the left side. In a general sense, one thing that they have in common is people just don't really trust elections in America. That's not a good thing. But if you bring it up to people today, that Democrats were denying these elections, whether it be 2000, 2016, 2018, you can pick just about any election, this would be a very common response.
Your examples of the Democrats doesn't ring a bell to me. So
Tens of millions of dollars investigating Trump-Russia collusion, that doesn't ring a bell? What about Joe Biden saying that the 2016 election wasn't legitimate? Is that election denying or no?
this is bullshit.
Just typical responses. You know, it's crazy how they just memory hold this whole thing. And it's all about Donald Trump, which obviously I'm not going to ignore. Donald Trump, you know, this has been the center of attention, him talking about the 2020 election. But to just completely forget about 2016, you go out in the street and almost every single person you talk to has already forgotten about Democrats spending tens of millions of dollars investigating the 2016 election. All major Democrats denying those election results. Let's move on.
I know you probably got to go. Have you ever heard of the term wake-up call?
No.
Oof.
It is an incident where a person of color forgets that they are of color and are reminded rather brutally by an unexpected act of racism. Have you ever had any of those?
Oh, brother.
I'm just asking. You think you've ever
Well,
had
I'm acutely aware, Charlemagne, that I'm a black person, just as you are a black person. And when Joe Biden insulted you by saying, you ain't really black, we don't know whether or not you want to vote for me or vote for Donald Trump, it seems to me that should have been a wake-up call on your part. How dare this guy come in here and insult you, a black man, and tell you you got to think a certain kind of way? I'm amazed that you weren't mad about that.
I'm not gonna say it upset me, just like I'm not letting you upset me. You know what I mean?
He's just putting it right back on him. And what's interesting about this is, hey, we just did a video on this. We just did a video of all these hidden quotes from Joe Biden. Maybe you guys at home thought that everyone knew these quotes about Joe Biden or these nasty quotes from Joe Biden. A lot of people, when I went out in the street quoting Joe Biden to people a few weeks ago, not a single person caught me. Not a single person called me out and saying, that's Joe Biden. So a lot of these people don't know about these quotes.
I don't tend to get upset over things like
Well,
that. But what I did say,
well, you just not talk about a wake-up call, and it seemed to me that should have been a wake-up call on your part to have a white guy come in here who also said, by the way, about Mitt Romney, because he didn't want to put more regulations on Wall Street, going to put y'all back in chains. And Joe Biden has lied for decades about his civil rights record, claiming that he desegregated movie theaters and restaurants in Wilmington, Delaware, when he didn't do any of that. He lied and said that he tried to visit Nelson Mandela during apartheid South Africa. He did not. And he came in here and told you aren't even black and let you think a certain kind of way. It seemed to me that should have been a wake-up call for you, but it wasn't, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, no, for the record, I'm not a Democrat or Republican.
I didn't say you were.
Yeah, I think both.
I don't know what
trash.
you are. I never even asked you about your party affiliation.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, but you are black.
Absolutely.
And to have a white guy come in here and tell you have to say, think a certain kind of way, otherwise you, quote, ain't black? Wow.
How should I have replied to him, you think?
Before we jump into how he should have replied, oh my gosh. Just bringing up all those examples right on the spot. Larry Elder was prepared for that question. But also, I mean, he's running for president right now, actually. And I know that he needs, what does he need? About like 40,000 donations to actually be debating the other Republicans. Now, you might look at that and just say, okay, well, he's not going to beat Donald Trump or DeSantis or even Vivek. Still would be really cool to see him on that debate stage. I'll put a link down below if you guys want to try to get him on the debate stage by donating. And no, this video is not sponsored by him. But he was prepared for that. And how many people, it's so important to keep in mind, this show, The Breakfast Club, you know, this is not going to be the same audience as like maybe a conservative show or whatever that might not reach some inner city communities or anything like that. So he's bringing up these quotes. He's reminding the population about this insane stuff that Joe Biden said. He's actually educating people when he's bringing all this stuff up and reaching an audience that maybe doesn't remember that Joe Biden's this racist old man. That's a big reason why I went out and did that last video, is just because so many people, I knew that people didn't know these quotes. And the fact that they don't, yes, it blows my mind. I'm sure it blew your guys' mind as well. But again, like I just said, not a single person called me out for quoting Joe Biden when I was out filming that video. I think we were out there for 2.5 hours, 2 hours maybe, something like that, talking to a bunch of people. There's a lot of people featured in the video. A lot of people don't know about these racist quotes from Joe Biden. And if more people in the black community, or just minorities in general, but in the black community knew about those racist Joe Biden quotes, it probably would have affected him in 2020.
What I just now said, how dare you insult me and tell me I think as a human being, let alone as a black person? I don't tell you how to think, Joe Biden. How dare you come in here and tell me how I should think? I'm going to vote for Donald Trump if I want to vote for Donald Trump. And if I want to vote for Donald Trump, it does not make me not black. 20% of black people, black men, as I said, voted for Donald Trump in 2020. Are they not black now? So only 80% of black men walking around are really black, 20% are not because they voted for Donald Trump? How insulting is that? How condescending is that?
I mean, you're probably right, but I didn't take it in that way.
I did.
As I said to him in that moment, it's just about me wanting something for my people, and I want to know what is he going to do for my people, and not only for my people now. How are you going to atone for the things you've done to my people?
Right.
His response, Charlemagne's response, right there, just going, Well, he's bringing the fire, making some good points. I don't know.
That's it.
Right. And this is a guy, Joe Biden, who, when he first got into the Senate, hung out with segregationists, talked about how well he got along with them. Talked about how he didn't want integration because of a jungle. This guy has made all sorts of insulting things to black people, and his policies right now are hurting black people. Inflation hurts the people at the bottom more than anything else. Letting a bunch of illegal aliens into the border are hurting black people more than anybody else, as I said earlier. He's opposed to school choice when he has his own kids in private school, and we lost a year, almost 2 years of in-school education in California because of COVID that he supported. I mean, this guy has done monstrous things to black people, and then for him to come in here and tell you how you ought to think as a black person, it blew my mind.
Wow. This is just a tiny bit that we're going to feature here of Larry Elder on The Breakfast Club. But just, I mean, this is a fire appearance. He's spitting some serious facts here. And you can kind of see how Charlemagne's not really pushing back on a lot of this stuff too much, just because you can't. I don't know if they regret this. I have no clue. One really, really encouraging part, because we're seeing Larry Elder just dominate right here. This is the topics that he's best at. He's absolutely dominating. But in the comment section as well, let's scroll down. I've never once donated to anything political until this interview. Mr. Elder spoke nothing but the truth. Larry Elder should host the Breakfast Club from now on. He's the voice the black community should be learning from, hands down. So the reason why I'm showing you guys some of those comments, those are the top comments on this video, and they are overwhelmingly positive. It's not like a massive amount of hardcore conservatives are watching the Breakfast Club, but he spoke to people here. It's no secret at all that a lot of minorities are listening to the Breakfast Club. This stuff makes an impact. Bringing on an intelligent, conservative black man to just drop these truth bombs, this stuff makes an absolute impact, especially when he's bringing up issues that are resonating with people. Mass illegal immigration, affecting low-wage workers, shutting down schools. A lot of people go to work while their kids are at school. So who did those insane lockdowns affect the most? The people that couldn't afford to have maybe babysitter or tutors or whatever it may be. I love this interview so much. Larry does such a great job. He absolutely brings it. And they are definitely not ready for him. It's pretty much 3v1 on this show. And I love seeing that people are actually resonating with his message as well. You might not be the biggest fan of Larry Elder, but hopping on a show like this and being able to have these conversations makes a serious impact, especially, culturally. The Breakfast Club is not a small show. It's not a small show. And for them to bring someone like Larry Elder on to drop this information that actually makes a difference. People look this stuff up. What did Joe Biden say? He said, what? I'm going to look that up. Oh, it's true? Okay. He's not going to get my support in 2024. You know, this stuff makes an impact. A lot of people don't know about this information. So just the general public, you know, just the general public. The mainstream media is not talking about it a bunch. Fantastic appearance from Larry Elder. Anyways, I'll put a link down to the full show down in the description below if you guys want to check that out. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe for more videos and hit that bell and notification button so you're notified next time I post. I'll catch you guys in the next video.